Hello everyone and welcome to my ultimate raw gold farming guide for Classic Fresh. Alright, so the first raw gold farming location takes place in Ashenville at around level 18 or 19. Here I killed these ghost paw runners. They drop 2 grey items that renders for a decent amount of silver, and you also get meat that you can use for leveling up cooking. At around level 24 you could swap to Duskwood. Here there's also some wolves that you can slay, and they drop the exact same 2 grey items like before. But the reason why this location is even better is because there's also chest spawning locations and also different veins if you have to level up mining at the same time. At level 26, you could start killing these raptors in wetlands. The loot table also starts to get way better, because both of these grey items renders for a decent amount. Before, there was an item that rendered for around 1 silver, and the other one 6. So the average silver that you will loot from each creature will also start to increase at this level. As a class with silence, kick or any CC abilities, then you could go to 1000 needles at around level 28. But before you visit this location, remember that these can also cast a range ability. So if you accidentally pull a couple of these and you need to run away, then there's also a high chance that you could potentially die. But overall, between level 20 to 30, there isn't that many great farming locations if it's going to be for raw gold without using the auction house. And to be honest, the gold that you make between level 20 to 30 isn't that high. So in my opinion, it's better just to be dungeon farming or questing. And remember, you can also invest early on and make a huge profit. All the different things I will be investing into, and also my gold farming methods, will be shared in my gold document. You can find this in the description below the video. At level 30, everything will change when it comes to raw gold making. And as long as you just do this between level 30 to 40, then you will definitely also have enough gold for your level 40 mount. Starting at around level 30, you could head to Stranglethorn Vale, and at this location you will find different pandas and tigers. The loot table are amazing, and the 2 grey items renders for a good amount. At least the whiskers, which is more than 7 silver each. The only downside is that these creatures are also a part of a quest, so there might be a high competition for these creatures. Therefore, I usually just go to Desolate instead and kill these scorpions. Not only is there less competition, but there's also way better loot tables. If you look at these grey items, both of them renders for more than 5 silver each, so definitely a better farm compared to the tigers and pandas in Stranglethorn. Like it wasn't enough, then there's even another useful creature at the very same area. These basilisk has loot tables with 4 different grey items, so whenever you kill one of them, there's also a high chance that you will at least get 1 grey item. The only downside is that this area is also far away from any Alliance starting zone, so you will need to spend a high amount of traveling time to get to this location. If you're getting bored of farming in Desolate, then you can always go back to Stranglethorn Vale and kill these gorillas instead. I usually start this farm at around level 32 and continue to 35. Remember to also kill any tiger or panda at the same time, else you will have too much downtime waiting for the gorillas to respawn. As a horde player, I would definitely not go to Stranglethorn Vale, but instead to Alterac Mountains near Dalaran. Here you can find these elementals that drop so many different grey and white items that renders for a high amount. The only thing I wouldn't render is the elemental earth. This is a material you'll need for many different professions, and if you're at some point were planning to use the auction house or trade with people, then you can usually sell the elemental earth for a couple of gold. There's 2 downsides to this farm. Alliance players can't do this, and horde players will have to be aware of nearby casters. This is why I often just go to Swamp of Sorrows instead, when I reach level 35 at least. In Swamp of Sorrows, you can find these swamp jaguars, and they drop 3 different items that renders for a high amount. Here it also benefits you a lot if you have decided to level up skinning. The letter that I render usually grants me around 3 to 4 gold for every single level that I do this. If there's all of a sudden a lot of competition, or if it's just getting boring, then you could always swap to Badlands instead. Here you can kill these coyotes. The loot table is pretty much the same as the jaguars in Swamp of Sorrows, at least if you look at the winter price. One big downside of this farm is that it's also far away from any horde starting location, so you have to spend a lot of time getting here, and it can also be quite dangerous. However, if you manage to get to Badlands, then make sure to also pay attention to any of these creatures. The Rich Hunters also has an amazing loot table, so you can always kill these or the Coyotes when you're in Badlands. You can easily do this farm all the way up to level 40, and in Badlands there's yet another creature that also drops so many different grey items that you can winter right away. I'll get back to this creature later in the video. Starting from around level 37, you could kill these exiles in Arathi Highlands. The loot table is the exact same as the creatures you could slay as a horde player in Elteric Mountains, but this time these creatures can also be slain by alliance players. This is such an amazing farming location that you can easily do all the way up to 42. And like I mentioned earlier, there's an amazing spot in Badlands as well, where you kill the same kind of creatures with the same loot tables. Just remember to keep the elemental earth if you're planning to trade with people or use the auction house. And remember to be aware of the level range of these creatures, because they're usually one level above the targets in Arathi Highlands. Therefore, I usually also go here when I'm level 38 or higher. At the southern part of Stranglethorn Vale, you'll find this area with these gorillas. They drop 2 items that I usually just winter. And to increase the gold that you make, or well, the experience, then remember to also go to Booty Bay and pick up the quest where you need to slay these gorillas. If you have either been to Thousand Needles or Desolas, then you're also close to another zone, Feralas. In Feralas, you will find different bears you can slay, and the loot table is honestly amazing. There's even a decent chance that you'll get a mace that you can winter for more than 14 silver. You might also notice that I'm slaying the wolves, and that's basically just because 2 of these items winters for 8 to 9 silver each. One of the biggest benefits is that there's next to no competition killing the different bears and wolves, and beside this, the grey items we can get from this farm also winters for the most in this guide so far. However, there's yet another creature I would highly recommend you to also farm. It's these basilisk in Stranglethorn Vale. Outside, but also inside the cave, you'll find these, and the loot table are amazing. Wintering for anywhere between 6 silver and all the way up to around 13 silver each, and 2 of these items even winter for more than 10 silver each. So in Tenaris, there's a couple of spots where you can farm these fire rocks. You can start this at around level 41 or 42. They drop 4 different items that winters for a decent amount, anywhere from around 6 silver and all the way up to 12 silver for each item. When I reach level 44, then I always swap to Feralas. Here you can find these enemies, and the loot table are amazing. 6 different items that winters for a high amount, and the drop chance is also high. Like it wasn't enough, then you can even make additional gold by skinning these creatures. You can just sell all the leather to a vendor. Because this spot is so good, and there usually isn't much competition, then I like to stay here all the way up to 48. However, if you get tired of the other spot, then you could always go back to Tenaris and kill these basilisk. This is usually also an area where there isn't much competition, simply because these basilisk isn't really a part of any quest. 4 different grey items and even a chance that you can get Edgemasters. So if you play a warrior and you would like to get these gloves, well then this spot might also be the right decision to go to at this level range. Else you also have another option, and that is to go to Angora Crater and kill these raptors. As you might notice, then there's also a lot of these raptors. This makes this spot amazing as any class with cleave or AoE damage. These raptors also has a loot table where there's a chance that you will get the Edgemasters. But what is the actual drop chance? Well, that's 50%, because either they're gonna drop or they're not gonna drop. By the time you reach level 50, then you could also go to Western Plaguelands and look for these spiders. The major reason why I like to kill these is because of the Iron Web Spider Silk, an item you can winter for 25 silver. On top of this, you can also get 2 other type of silk and even 2 grey items, but these doesn't winter for that much. If you're looking for another creature to slay, where there's a high chance that you will get an item that winters for a high amount, well, then you should also be looking for these in a shower. 5 different items you can winter, and 3 of these is even worth more than 12 silver, and the most expensive item sells for 19 silver, so definitely also a decent creature to kill. If you go back to Anguro Crater between level 50 to 55, then you can also kill these gorillas. 2 different grey items that winters for a high amount, and the drop chance is honestly also fairly decent. So definitely a spot to check out if you also have leveled up your skinning. Just remember that this spot is also a location for a couple of different quests. Another solution would be to go to Burning Steps. In Burning Steps you can kill these scorpions. 3 different grey items and 1 white that winters for more than 20 silver. You can kill any scorpion all over the zone, but I just prefer the ones to the east of Burning Steps. If you would like to continue farming spider silk, then you could always go back to Western Plaguelands, and at the eastern part you will find some higher level spiders. The biggest downside of this farm is that there's also a lot of other creatures at the same area, so you will not only be killing the spiders, and therefore the gold that you make isn't that high right here. What I would do instead would be to head a bit more to the right and enter Eastern Plaguelands. Here you can find many different beds, and the loot table are amazing, and you can even skin these as well. So this is definitely a better raw gold farm compared to the other spot. So the last spider silk location wasn't that good, but this one is definitely way better in Silphus, because there's gonna be so many different spiders you can slay. Let's say you are going to use the auction house or trade with a person, then this spot is also an amazing gold making method, because the ironweb spider silk is a material you will need as a high level tailor. So these usually sells for more than 1 gold on the auction house. At the very same area you will find scorpions to slay, and at the southern part of Silphus you will also find other scorpions and spiders that you need to kill. It's pretty much mandatory to kill the scorpions if you're also farming the spiders. 3 different grey items that winters for a good amount of silver, and a white item for 20 silver. So definitely mandatory to also do this farm in Silphus. Just be aware of the poison that the scorpions apply to you. This can stack and deal a high amount of damage. Alright, so at this point you're probably also close to level 60, if not already max level. Those of you that would like to see more gold guides or other tips and tricks for Classic, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because soon I'll publish a lot more videos. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.